So good morning. Now I'm back out again today, early start, and hopefully on the hunt for some bass. Now I was down here yesterday using some of the new Samson lures, the Shad, and I'm going to be doing the exact same thing today. Same lure to start with, the 25 gram version of the Shad. I'm going to be casting it out, working it a few different ways and seeing if we can get a few hits. Now I got into a couple of bass yesterday. I've had a few bass here lately. They've all been small, but still providing some good fun and a great way to start the day. So yeah, I'm not going to hang around anymore. I'm just going to get my rod set up, get fishing, and we'll see if we can find a few fish. So that's the 25 gram version of the Shad. Now let's get this out there, see if there's any fish about. I'm always keeping an eye on this spot, any activity on the surface. Get a lot of bait fish around here, a lot of small fish too. So to start, just going to gently tap away at the rod tip. I can feel that lure working under the water. Give it a few pauses. The water's crystal clear at the moment. Has been for ages now. And just lift that rod tip up and lower it down when it gets closer in. Hopefully we can connect to a couple of fish today. Now one thing I have noticed about this lure from using it the last day or so is what you can actually do, because it's a subsurface lure and it weighs 25 grams, it will sink quite quickly. Now what you can do is cast it out, and once you flick the bail arm over, once it's just sort of a foot under the surface, you can actually just wind it with the rod tip held down. You can just wind it straight, and what it does is slalom like that in the water. Now it's got a really good action to it. So it's a very versatile lure. You don't have to work it on the top. So if you just point the rod tip down and literally just a straight retrieve, but with a few twitches, and it just slaloms. I've been keeping an eye on it when I get it in close, and the action on it is really, really great. And then obviously you can just lift it up, bring it up, back up to the surface again, and just play around with it. So I'm on to my first fish, but it's actually on a different lure. Now, I wasn't seeing anything happen whatsoever, no activity on the surface, so I stuck a floating surface lure on, just because it means I can work it without it sinking. And you can just see the swirls behind the lure a lot easier. Now this is only a very small bass. Let's get him up. There we go. So one small bass to start the morning. That's on the Whiplash Spittin Wire. So now that I know there's some fish here, I'm going to stick the Samson lure back on, I think, and see if we can find a few on that. There we go, he's off the hook. So first fish of the morning on the little Whiplash Spittin Wire there. Now the reason for me putting that on, like I was saying, I just wanted a floating surface lure to work on the surface, because a lot of the times here you'll get the bait fish follow it, or just see any little swirls. So it was just to give me an indication if anything was here at the moment. Also with the sand eel colour, we get loads and loads of sand eels around here, so I just thought that would be a bit more appropriate to try and find the fish. But just a small bass, only a little tiny one, but a good start anyway. Let's get it back and we'll see if we can find some more. So now that we've found a fish, I'm going to go back on with the Samson lure, and hopefully we can get a few more hookups on that. Well, that sun's just come up. It's super bright now. There's nothing like that orange glare first thing in the day. Perfect time to be fishing. I just had another little swirl on the surface there, right near the lure, but no connection. Well, these are only really small bass. Just got to hope really that there's something a bit bigger lurking in between them. I've actually got another Samson lure with me, the Tweak Bait. A very small tweak bait in a mullet colour, and I'm thinking that today maybe that will be a bit more appropriate, so I might switch over to that in a second. But after a bit of success on the shad yesterday, it'd be nice to get another one on this lure. I can see fish jumping out there now. There we go. Oh, it's off. No, I was just about to say, just cast that lure out and right next to it I can see a couple of fish jumping. That one's not connected properly. I've just put the tweak bait on, which is a smaller lure. Come on. And that's what's happened there, bit of a tangle. Well, this is a tweak bait, very small lure this, in a mullet colour. They're quite far out, they seem. The activity is within casting distance, but relatively far out. That take was insane. That whole fish came out of the water then. That was mental. Oh no, he's near that rock. Oh. That was crazy. This is a better fish. Hopefully it stays on there. Oh, that tape was mental. It's nothing big, but it's bigger than the last. He's foul hooked, and I'm not surprised because so we have another fish. better size this, but he's foul hooked, which is unfortunate. But I'm not surprised. That fish, I'm not joking, that lure hit the water. I saw that fish come out. It completely just absolutely smashed it. Part of me thought it might have been a foul hook mullet at first. And he's very lively. But that was crazy. So the little tweak bait in mullet, hope you can see that there. Just a very small lure, but does the business. Now it's still a small fish, but compared to the last one, it's a better size. He just calms down a bit. And there we are, there's bass number 2 of the day. Right, buddy, off you go. And he cruises back. Right, let's get it back out there. Now, I'm actually finding it really difficult to see, even though I've got shades on. Got the sun beaming right across me. Now, when that fish took, I had no idea where it was going. Just saw it shoot out of the water like a torpedo. And that's when you know the bass are active, feeding hard, and they hit lures at that force. Well, once again, it's an absolutely stunning morning. Topped off by a couple of fish. I reckon still got maybe half an hour before this spot gets killed off. I'm just scanning around. I've hopped onto some different rocks now. I'm just going to scan around with a few casts because the fish move constantly here. It's quite rare you'll be picking them up in one spot the whole time. So I'm back on with the shad now. I'm going to stay another 10 or 15 minutes. And then I'm going to call it a day. Now, I had a spare battery for my camera with me, which I thought was fully charged, but it turns out I've only got 15% on it, so it's going to die pretty soon. Well, that's going to do it for this morning, I think. It's been a bit of a slow one, really. Still nice to get into a couple of fish, but yeah, they've been a bit scarce this morning. I was expecting a little bit more. Now, the first fish obviously came on the Spittin Wire, and the second one was on the Samson Tweak Bait. I've just clipped on the shad again, thrown that out a couple of times, but once the tide gets to a certain state here, it tends to die off. And especially when that sun rises up, it's absolutely baking now. It's going to be an absolutely blinding day. Yeah, I tend it finds to die off and the fish move further out. But anyway, it's been a great little session. I hope you've enjoyed this short video. It's been a lovely morning, another early start, but it's all worth it in the end. Now, like I've said in the other video, if you want to check out Samson Lures, just head over to their website. Also, type into YouTube Grant Woodgate if you want to watch some brilliant bass fishing videos where he catches some pretty epic bass out in Portugal. But that's going to be all from me today. I'll be out again sometime soon, testing these lures and hopefully catching a few more fish. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next one.